What is fear? Fear isn't just the monster under the bed or the shadow in the dark. It's the silent companion we carry every day, the whisper in our ear saying, "Don't mess up, don't stand out, don't be vulnerable." We fear being judged, we fear not being good enough, we fear failure, rejection, and loneliness. But where does it all come from? And more importantly, how much power do we give it? Let's start with the fear of judgment. Why does it matter so much what others think of us? Maybe it's because we've been taught since childhood to play nice, fit in, and avoid conflict. We learn to measure our worth through the eyes of others, our friends, our families, even strangers on the internet. But here's the truth: judgment is inevitable. No matter what you do, someone will have an opinion. So ask yourself, are you living for their approval or are you living for you? Then there's the fear of not being validated. We chase likes, comments, and compliments, thinking they will fill the gaps inside us. But external validation is a fragile thing. It's fleeting, conditional, and never enough. The real question is, why do we need it in the first place? What if we could validate ourselves instead? And what about the fear of failure, of losing your job, your status, or the life you've built? Society glorifies success, but rarely talks about how failure shapes us. We forget that every setback is a step forward, every mistake is a lesson, and every no brings us closer to the right yes. Failure isn't the end, it's part of the process. The fear of being left behind, that's a big one, isn't it? We see others moving faster, achieving more, living lives that seem perfect, and we think, why am I not there yet? But comparison is the thief of joy. Everyone's timeline is different. The real race isn't against others, it's against your own potential. And finally, the fear of being bullied or ostracized. It's a primal fear rooted in our need for connection and belonging. But sometimes standing your ground means standing alone. And that's okay, because being true to yourself is worth more than being accepted by people who don't value the real you. So, what's the solution? How do we live with fear without letting it control us? The first step is to acknowledge it. Fear doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But the more you face it, the less power it has over you. Ask yourself, what am I truly afraid of? Is it failing, being alone, looking foolish? And then ask, what's the worst that could happen? Most of the time, the scenarios we imagine are far worse than reality. Here's the truth: fear isn't something you conquer once and for all. It's something you learn to coexist with. It's a signal, not a stop sign. It's the voice that says, be careful, but you get to decide whether to listen or not. So the next time fear whispers in your ear, remind yourself, I am more than my fears. I am more than my doubts. And I am brave enough to live life on my own terms. Let me know in the comments. What's a fear you faced recently? How did you overcome it? Or how are you working through it? Authenticity starts within. Discover your courage, reflect on your fears, and evolve into the person you were always meant to be.